the question. Hey, what's the matter? The TV broken. It's Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang. The Nick and Artie Show.
Uh-oh. Look out. Here it goes.
Yeah. Friday nights. Where would you rather be, Artie?
Listening to this song that everyone's humming in Medford, Oregon right now.
It's a big market. Anyways.
How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Got an update on the baseball game.
Oh, there's a baseball game on?
Yes, there is. What's the score? 4-1?
4-1.
Cardinals?
Yep, 4-1, top of the sixth.
Got 8 guys scrambling to find the score on a piece of paper.
I have a telescope out trying to find some interest in this.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you having withdrawals because the Yanks are out
no
there?
Yanks, no Red Sox, no Phillies, you know.
Yeah.
No basketball.
But Texas is a real thing.
They're a fun team to watch.
Texas, St. Louis, if they get in it, they're going to win it.
Yeah,
Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa,
I don't know what happens this time of the year. You don't even hear about the Cardinals the whole year.
Right.
And all of a sudden they turn it on in September, and they keep the foot on the pedal right to the. If they get in, I'm telling you. Although Texas has got a serious offense.
Yeah.
You know, they were talking. The Yanks were talking about that C.J. Wilson. If C.C. Sabathia opts out, they were looking at him, but then he didn't look that good the other night, so they probably crossed him off the list.
They're getting out the checkbook, the Yanks. They're figuring out where to go. That's what's happening. I love all these stories like Joe Girardi trying to figure out the staff. No. Someone's getting out a checkbook and deciding who they're going to buy. That's it. That's it.
Like I said, it makes it interesting, though. It used to, as a kid, every year when I was growing up watching the Sox, it would be Yaz, Dwight Evans in right.
Right.
Jim Rice in left, Freddie Lynn,
Butch Hobson
at third.
Oh, Fred Lynn, remember him?
Yeah, Burleson at short, and now with, hot stove baseball is more exciting than the actual regular season.
Jimmy Rice.
Jimmy Rice snapped a golf club on a downswing.
Did he really?
Yeah. He does stuff like Nesson. He's kind of like an angry guy.
Yeah, he always looked like an angry guy, yeah.
But he's kind of, I guess they said he's mellowed out, but he never cared for the media.
Oh, well, that's good. Jim Rice mellowed out. That's good news.
I'll tell you somebody who apparently hasn't mellowed out is Manny Ramirez. He pleaded not guilty to domestic battery charge involving his wife. Oh, it was his wife this time. It wasn't a 60-year-old guy working for the Sox that he threw down the stairs.
It wasn't Don Zimmer?
He threw some like ticket agent working for the Red Sox. You remember hearing about that? He roughed up a guy like 65 years old. That's when I stopped being a Manny fan.
Manny Ramirez might be the best hitter I've ever seen.
I think his wife would agree with that, Artie.
Well, but I feel sorry for the woman. But sometimes I don't believe these wives because, like Robin Givens claimed Mike Tyson hit her. How was she walking? You know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson. Look what he did to Trevor Burbick. Mike Tyson did Trevor Burbick once. He couldn't walk for 3 weeks.
That's right.
And Robin Givens is able to do an interview.
Well, she's got a good chin, though. Have you seen her? But Manny's wife said, told investigators that he slapped her, causing her head to strike a bed headboard. And Manny said, no. He goes, I didn't make good contact. I fouled it off. I was high in his. But
what do you want me to do? Kiss you? Well, go on. Put it over there.
Yeah, we had audio of it.
How did we get that clip? Somebody's right in the bedroom.
She planted a mic.
So
she did a Mel Gibson, whatever that.
So that's
broad's name is.
I like how you don't even have to show up when you do a plea. You probably know how a court works.
No, well, if you get a good enough lawyer,
is that how that works?
You don't have to show up. But it depends on the judge. If you don't show up, sometimes he'll get pissed.
So this judge is probably like a baseball fan. We know he's crazy. The defense, that's what his lawyer said. His defense was Manny was just being Manny, and they said,
"Oh, that's Manny being Manny." Oh.
800-546-7663 is the phone number. And now they're still discussing, owner Henry, the Sox owner, was a bunch of angry fans are yelling at him, and he got upset, so he drove right to a radio station in Boston to try to clear the air with all this.
What were they yelling
acrimony.
at him? What were they yelling at him?
That I don't know. Come on,
Like,
what are guys from Southie who have 10 beers and I'm yell anyway?
I don't think we could say it here.
Well, they were saying they were upset about the Crawford deal, and there was the fans think that they did that just for baseball ratings, and
Did I hear that they were yelling or people speculated that he leaked that chicken wing story and everything, and he denies it?
Yeah, that was and he wanted to clear the air with all that stuff, and he was against getting Crawford because he said we have enough left-handed hitting. He was the one guy in upper-level management who was against it.
Right.
And he says he doesn't get directly involved with baseball decisions like that. He's an owner, so he left it to, Theo Epstein and Larry and whoever else, Mo and Curly, and they all said we need this guy. And by the way, we shouldn't be, Crawford, he had an off year. That doesn't mean he's going to stink. I mean, some guys don't, their first year in a new city.
Right, but it could mean he stinks, though.
Coming from a Yankees fan, of course.
The Yankee fans, that's the thing about New York. They don't give you time to develop, It's
Not in Boston either.
Yeah, if you have a couple of bad outings, there's that famous story about Ed Whitson, the pitcher for the Yankees, had a few bad outings, and fans followed him home and threw rocks at him. They followed him home. They waited.
Really?
I know, because I was one of the fans.
Ed Whitson?
Ed Whitson, yeah.
Who was Ed Whitson?
He was a pitcher who did well on some other team.
What
came to the
year?
Yanks. This is I'm going to say 88-ish.
Oh, my God.
Something like that, yeah.
Ed Whitson.
One of those awful Yankee pitchers in the 80s, like Doyle Alexander.
Ed Whitson. Sounds like a guy that sold me my Chevy.
Well, he might be.
Whitson Chevrolet in White Plains. Come on down.
There's a lot of 80s Yankees selling cars now. Steve Kemp just sold me a Porsche.
And Theo Epstein, they're continuing, that's what I said a couple nights ago. Is it a done deal or not? These articles come out, it's a done deal, and then, he's still going to work and stuff, and they're still yapping about that.
That must not be too awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to work. Okay, go Sox.
The Red Sox are taking a hardline stance that, Theo can't take, his aides with him.
Yeah.
His assistants. AIDS, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But,
well, he has AIDS.
Well, they do. Yeah,
right.
GMs have AIDS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they're taking a hard line stance there, and we're looking at possible prospects from the Cubs. Like I said, we got to go back to who? Who was the last productive Cub? Ron Santo.
Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks. Yeah, let's play
Actually, I think it was Hack Wilson in 32 when he drove in 180
runs. Was Hack Wilson a Cub?
Hack Wilson for the 32 Cubs, I think, drove in 190 runs.
He still has the record. Everybody, Adrian Gonzalez was on that pace for about 3 weeks.
In
the All-Star break, and then he turned into Wade Boggs.
Hack Wilson's not talked about enough. That guy, 190 RBIs in a season. And he looked like he drank a lot of beer, I think.
Like Valverde. Cervasis. So, but, it could fall apart. It's not a done deal. It's 90% done with Theo Epstein. But a few years ago, remember the Red Sox in 2002, they thought they were going to get Billy Beane.
Right.
Remember? And he calls the club after he said yes 2 days later. I changed my mind. Went to the Oakland Athletics. Now they made a movie about him.
And Brad Pitt played him. That's got to be good for your ego, huh? It is, yeah.
Right?
I think if they made a movie about me, I think the guy who played Newman in Seinfeld would be up for it.
Him or Dick Whitson. And Piniella did the same thing to the Mets after the 2001 season. Couldn't reach an agreement.
I loved that. I didn't want to see Lou Piniella in a Met uniform. That would have been terrible.
I love Piniella.
I love Piniella, too.
Even as a Sox fan.
Remember in that Bucky Dent game, he made the play that saved the game.
Line drive to right field. The sun's in his eyes.
Yep.
It bounces about a foot in front of him. He sticks his glove out like Ken Dryden.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then just saved the game. Red Sox would have won the game.
Yeah. That's a phrase we hear a lot, huh? Yeah. What else? We got We get Michael Vick fighting with Peter King. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Who cares?
Huh? Is it crazy right now? Or is it me? Is Twitter exacerbating the big mouths in the NFL? They all have a voice now.
Well, it's exacerbating every big mouth.
Every big mouth. But the receivers, the wide receivers go crazy. They love to talk, man.
Yeah. Well, again, we say, football, to play football, you got to be a little nuts. So I don't think we should be surprised at anything that one of these guys tweets.
I just don't hear it coming out of the linemen, though. It's always the divas, the wide receivers, and the cornerbacks. And you have to be cocky to play those positions. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Nobody, an offensive lineman in the NFL is the most underrated. Nobody pays attention to them. They have such an important job.
Yeah.
And, just nobody cares about them.
Yeah.
They got to ruin their bodies for the career. And,
I loved hanging, even up at Maine, I hung with the offensive linemen. Madden loves them, too, and I see why. They're just big, fun-loving guys, so they get a few in them. Then they just become these mean...
Right.
They all look so, in their pictures, when you watch an NFL game, they put the headshot up. They look like, nice guy. They're just the meanest sons of bitches to walk the face of the earth.
Well, they should be.
Absolutely. And we're gonna get into more of that, and we'll talk about Michael Vick and Peter King and a bunch of other stuff. It's the Nick and Artie Show, 800-546-7663. Stay with us.
Now back to two guys who suspiciously both have groin poles. Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to the show. 800-546-7663 is the number. For the break, by the way, we got Joe Theismann coming up later on in the show.
Wow, that's a booking, man.
Absolutely. Talk to Joe, NFL Network voice now. I liked him in the booth.
Yeah.
I liked him,
Very articulate.
Must have got more money to go to the NFL Network or something.
Well, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about money, Nick.
Not me. See my contract? Mink you. Michael Vick versus Peter King. Following Philadelphia's loss to Buffalo in Week 5, and the Eagles are 1-4 now, Peter King wrote and then tweeted, "Eagles were sloppy and dumb." And Vick didn't like that. He took exception to the comment and responded Wednesday. Huh? What?
The Eagles were sloppy and dumb. Why take exception to that?
Well, there used to be a time when you could say stuff, and
happens to be true. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So what's Vick getting his panties in a bunch for? Dumb and sloppy. This is Michael Vick who tweeted back. "I don't even have a comment on that. Unless you played this game, I don't even think you can make comments like that." Oh, so you have to have been a pro ball player before you can write something about it? Is that how it works? And they see the mentality.
Dumb and sloppy.
Yeah.
Was my principal's nickname for me in high school.
Some examples. Remember Ronnie Brown? He tried to pitch the ball in the shadow of the end zone against the 49ers. They blew that game. They lost 3 straight games, right? They've blown fourth quarter leads three times.
It's ugly in Philly. It is.
Yeah.
Like the Jets are ugly and the Eagles are ugly right now.
Last week, the Eagles defense jumped off sides on a 4th and inches with 1:23 left in the game.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
You know what I mean? So what are you getting upset about, man? I mean, we got Michael Vick.
Unless you played this game, you don't. Unless you played this game before, I don't think you can even make comments like that. It's just football.
Oh, it's just football.
Well, it's Peter King's job to make comments like that.
That's what I'm saying. He could have brought up the Rottweiler you fried. I mean, he didn't do that.
I didn't fry him. He didn't fry a dog. He just had them fight.
That's not true. He electrocuted him.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
Fighting. That was the least of the... He electrocuted him. They were throwing him in tubs with toasters and stuff.
Really?
Hell yeah.
My God.
Yeah, that's why people had a problem with it. I don't care about pit bulls fighting.
Well,
you?
I don't care about anybody fighting, really, to tell you the truth.
It was the electrocuting and the other stuff they were doing to him that...
I didn't realize they did that.
Where were you?
I think actually that day I was asleep in the subway. But I mean, electrocuting a dog, that you got to be good to come back from doing something like that in your life. You got to be good at what you do for a living to rebound from electrocuting a dog.
Yeah, or a minority.
Well, I mean, listen.
Please. Just pick, I don't know, Ron Jaworski. I always go back to the 80s. If Jaworski fried some dogs, nobody give him a second chance.
Well,
I
I liked Ron Jaworski, especially when Lawrence Taylor was tackling him.
He took the most vicious hit in the history of sacks in the NFL. I'll never forget it, man. It was a Chicago Bear. I think his name was Mike Hartman, defensive lineman. Nobody lined up on him.
Yeah.
Right? He comes off the end. Jaworski goes back to pass. He's got his back to this guy. This guy had a 20-yard run.
Yeah.
Puts his helmet in the middle of you can Google it and see it. Yeah, do you see that there? Literally, Jaworski flies through the air. Like Peter Pan if you had a theater.
Well,
honest to God, he flew through the air, Artie.
Ron Jaworski tells a funny story about Lawrence Taylor. Like, he played against Taylor, and Taylor sacked him, and he got hurt, and he was out for 3 games. Right. And during that time, the Eagles changed offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
So Jaworski's about to go out. They're playing the Giants. And the offensive coordinator is explaining to them, what's going to happen. And Jaworski said, who's blocking Lawrence Taylor? And very casually, the offensive coordinator said, the tailback's going to pick him up. And Jaworski said, what? And no, he's not. And he goes, no, look at the tailback's going to pick him up. He said he went out. One time, Taylor jumped over the tailback and sacked him. Another time, Taylor pushed the tailback into him and sacked him. And then another time, Taylor grabbed him from around the tailback and sacked him. 3 times in a row. But the funny thing is, when you hear Jaworski tell the story, he goes, who's got Taylor? The guy goes to the tailback. He goes, what? Have you watched any tapes?
This guy this is how bad this hit was. This was early 80s.
Yeah.
Might have been
I remember
70s, early 80s,
I think he was out for a few games.
He got fined $10,000 back then for the hit.
Oh.
The league fined him.
I was going to say, I thought Jaworski got fined.
No. The guy, you know what the guy said who got fined? He goes, they should have fined the guy that was supposed to block me, which is a great answer in Sports Illustrated. What a stick, man. You guys should Google that. The guy flies through the air like he had those cables on. It was unbelievable.
Right.
Oh, the phones are lighting up here.
A lot of Ron Jaworski fans.
Let's go to Tim in Cincinnati. Tim, welcome to the Nick and Artie Show.
Hey guys, I was on Monday night. I was defending my Bengals, but I was a little drunk.
Yeah.
I was a little drunk at that time, and I want to apologize for saying I love Nick so much.
Thank you, Timmy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I had a rough day that day, and my son came home and told me that his favorite band was 98 Degrees. So.
Wow.
Oh, God.
What color leg warmers is he wearing?
Anyway, no, I want to talk. I want to say that I'm from Cincinnati, and I love everything Cincinnati, but Pete Rose, I hate his guts.
Well, then really?
Why?
Maybe your favorite band is 98 Degrees.
Honestly, why? I mean, why do you hate Pete Rose?
Yeah.
Listen, as a player, I totally respect him, but as a manager, the Reds finished in second place for 5 years in a row in the 1980s, and I firmly believe. And he got banned from baseball in 1989. The next year, the Reds won the World Series.
I know with Piniella.
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, no, they won with Piniella, but Pete Rose set whole team up. Absolutely, I think Pete Rose, got the team ready, and Piniella came. I love Piniella, but Piniella came in and just. I have more of a problem that Pete Rose probably had 5 dimes on the game. He was using pitching
and I'll tell you what, he would not pitch Franco on a certain night because he had money on the game the next night. So he would hold off on pitching his best pitcher till the next night. And
this is still on your mind.
It was really frustrating to watch this team that had the best offense in the National League, and they couldn't win. They finished in second place 5 years in a row. It's ridiculous.
Wow. And this is what's on your mind in October of 2011?
This is,
listen.
I got to apologize. I'm apologizing for backing my Bengals the other night. I was a little drunk.
All right, Timmy. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, buddy. We got a lot more. Let's go to
that guy saying for sure Pete Rose had money on the game. The only guy who read the Bart Giamatti report, supposedly.
Yeah, really.
He didn't pitch the guy because he had money on the game. I'm telling you. Those are the fans I like.
Artie, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Should he not?
Who, Tim from Cincinnati?
Yes, Tim.
No, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Even though
Absolutely.
he bet
He shouldn't.
on
He
team.
shouldn't be allowed. Look, he's got a gambling problem.
Yeah,
I call it a gambling issue.
yeah.
I have one myself.
You're in the Radio Hall of Fame.
He shouldn't coach or manage anywhere, but the guy got more hits than anyone who ever lived. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah. But what about his haircut? Let's address that.
I mean, you know. I'm sorry, Yves Saint Laurent. I don't know you were paying that much attention to hair.
Well, I can't. I'm usually not, but let's be honest.
Lackey's got a nice head of hair.
Boy, is he going to have a tough time next year.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't like him when, they didn't like him before the fried chicken / bear eating contest he was having in the ninth inning.
Yeah, well, I think Red Sox Nation is in for some trouble.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. They still got a good core there.
A good core?
Yes. It's not a good thing that they were looking up Earl Weaver today. See, he's dead now, Earl? I don't know.
I think Earl Weaver died, yeah.
All right, we got a lot more calls to get to. It's the Nick and Artie show. We're going to talk minor league baseball, too. Had a funny quote from a fella that, Theismann's coming up. Joe Theismann's coming up. We're going to talk about my NFL picks. And
hockey unders.
And hockey unders, which is the phones are lighting up over that. 800-546-7663. It's the Nick and Artie show.
Now back to two guys who think a triple-double is something you order at Wendy's. It's the Nick and Artie Show with Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang.
800-546-7663. Let's go to Mike in Minneapolis. Mike, you're on the Nick and Artie Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's an honor to talk to you both.
Thank you.
I just, today at work, I ran into a guy. Are you surprised?
Yes, we were.
Today I ran into a guy at work. We started talking, and I found out that this idiot actually used an entire day of vacation time on Wednesday to go down and attend the Minnesota Lynx victory parade. And I was stunned by that.
And how late is the hair salon open?
Exactly.
Minnesota Lynx. We have to explain
it. Go ahead,
what he's
Artie.
talking about. The Minnesota Lynx won the WNBA championship, and nobody seemed to care. They had a parade.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't they? Come on. It's the women's national, what is it?
It was 11 chicks with... It was 11 chicks with mullets in the back of a pickup truck and a keg of Miller Lite.
Could you imagine being a guy and going to that? Like, what kind of a J.O., if I can say that?
You know what he is? He's a chooch.
He's a chooch.
For introducing me to my new favorite term.
Stay tuned. You'll hear a few more.
Oh, yeah. See, we got Minneapolis saying chooch.
Yeah, right.
That's beautiful.
Now, this guy, he's allegedly heterosexual. He brought his two young boys down there. He just, it's Minnesota sports history, and I just wanted to take my boys down there and be a part of it. And, yeah, used 8 hours of his vacation time. I couldn't believe it.
Well, Mike, we appreciate the call, brother. And if you ever have stories like that again, call us quickly.
Hey,
can
I ask one quick question of Artie about beer league?
Yeah?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I was just wondering, did you have much input at all on the soundtrack? Did you work on that at all, or was that someone else's deal?
No, I had input on the soundtrack, yeah.
You and the Bee Gees, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I wanted Southern rock in there and stuff.
So are you a fan of the band Guided by Voices? Because they had 2 songs on there.
Not really. I just like those 2 songs.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a big fan, and it was just like an extra treat because I love the movie, and then all of a sudden, 2 songs from a fairly obscure band, but one of my favorite, probably my favorite band of all time on there. So that was just a really cool coincidence, and just wondering if you were a fan of them at all.
No, I like those 2 songs, though, but thanks for liking the movie.
Thanks, Mike. Your 11 minutes is up.
Guy from Minneapolis was a beer league. That's odd.
Let's go to Todd in Wisconsin. He wants to talk about an ex-Yankee. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nick and Artie. Love
How
the
are
show.
you, Todd?
You guys were talking about people that players that went to New York and couldn't hack the pressure, and this is especially for you, Nick. If you remember, Chuck Knobloch was traded to the Yankees, and all of a sudden, he was a former Gold Glove player, and all of a sudden he couldn't throw the ball from second to first. And
he was pretty good.
If you remember this incident, and I know I shouldn't laugh about it, but he got a ground ball at second base and tried to throw to first, and the ball went in the stands, and he hit Keith Olbermann's mother.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
And if I met him today, I'd give him $100 for that.
I would, too. Take care. Bye.
It killed her? Our producer just said she's dead. It killed her?
No, it didn't kill her.
Got my fingers crossed. Why couldn't it hit Keith right in the temple? Of him. That would be hilarious.
But Knobloch
he was pretty good.
Knobloch didn't totally
no, he didn't
fall under the pressure. He was a good player. He was on the team that won 3 in a row. I don't
remember that came out.
No. I mean,
But he was
What?
good. No, he was pretty good for the Yanks. And then all of a sudden,
he was great for the Yankees.
And then all of a sudden he did. And I can relate to that because in Little League I played third. And I couldn't hit the first baseman, and this is honest to God truth. Nobody would sit behind the bleachers behind first base when I was playing third. Even in practice, I'd throw BBs.
It's the exact same thing. Perfect analogy.
Oh, come on,
Yankee
Artie.
Stadium,
Why like that?
and then your Little League game.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure for a kid. My father used to yell at me for stuff like that.
Oh,
right?
you kidding me? Forget about it.
Huh? Your dad didn't yell at you.
No, he did actually. One time he told me that I was swinging like the C word when I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old, and I struck out. And he goes, you're swinging like a real C word.
What, a Chinese guy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
did he say that?
Yeah.
See, now today he could tweet that to you, and you could tweet back to him. That is.
I mean, but
Newark,
you know what? The next time
New Jersey.
I didn't swing like a C word. It worked.
Somebody ought to call A-Rod that. Oh, they do in the paper.
That's what I call parenting.
Oh, let's go to Chris in Massachusetts, my home state. Chris, what's going on, fella?
What's going on, guys? I'm watching this thrilling National League playoff game tonight.
Give us an update.
Well, it is incredibly exciting.
What's the score?
Cardinals are up, and what I've
Don't get too
noticed
particular.
is the horrible defense on shortstop, which Nicholas. I know one of the things that's underrated from I hate to bring up the Red Sox for New Brunswick, Texas listeners, but Alex Gonzalez and Orlando Cabrera are so underrated from our rings. They are not credited enough. Defense at shortstop is so huge. Those guys were flawless. I don't care if they batted 100 through the playoffs, through the year. Those guys were solid, and I think that's a huge part of a team, and that's one thing Theo did well, bringing them in, but also weak where he didn't keep those guys, man. We need defense at shortstop. You need it. What do you think about that?
Well, Orlando Cabrera I loved. I mean, he helped us win that World Series. That guy was not only, he's clutch at the plate.
Yeah, he's always been that way.
Always that way, yeah. and pretty darn good in the field. And I agree. When I thought he was going to, I didn't realize we were just going to use him for a few months. And when he left, my heart was broken. But you're right. You got to be strong up the middle. Scudero is adequate.
Right.
And Scudero's pretty good offensively. He's streaky, but he's adequate. But back in the day, again, but reminisce, but Burleson, the Rooster, was my guy.
Yeah.
He had a gun, and he was, but, and Jeter, who's more steady than Jeter, man?
Nobody.
That's
why I love him. He's the captain.
Good point, Chris.
Right now, making out with Minka Kelly.
Back in '88.
Thanks.
Back in '88. He was listening as...
The Brewers have made 3 errors tonight, by the way, speaking of defense. And having none. Yes. Right? And they're down. All right. Well, what is it, 5-1?
5-1 St. Louis.
Wow. St. Louis is going to get in there again. What are you saying there, Aaron? Again, I'm not Melly Matlin with the hand signals.
Top of the eighth.
Top of the. I was supposed to get. He goes like this. He puts one finger up and then like this. Top of the.
That's the international signal for top of the eighth.
Let's go to Uncle Randy in California quickly. Uncle Randy, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
What's
Hello?
up, Uncle?
Yeah, go ahead.
what?
You're on. What's on your mind?
Oh, okay, hey, what's going on? You know what? I was wondering. First of all, Artie, good to hear you're healthy, man. You're my brother, man. But I had a
Thank
question.
you.
What am I, your cousin? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, I got a question for both of you. But first, I got a question for you, Nick, because I was wondering if, like, the names Merlin Olsen and Deacon Jones, Rosie Greer, Lamar Lundy, did they mean anything to you as, like, a teenager coming up?
Yes.
Did the West Coast players mean anything to you guys on the East Coast?
Yes, absolutely. Fearsome foursome.
The fearsome foursome,
Deacon Jones invented the head slap, by the way. Do you know that?
Deacon Jones also in one of the funniest episodes of The Odd Couple of all time.
Oh,
yeah.
The shaving cream one.
The shaving when we did the commercial. Absolutely. And that's when the Rams had, I even liked their uniforms back then, manly blue and white.
All right,
take
it
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. That's when
Hey, I'm just trying to keep the show going. I'm not getting nothing over here.
That's cool.
Like I'm playing tennis by myself.
I'm glad you guys.
Yeah.
I know Bruce Springsteen don't go over big in California, and I was thinking that maybe some of the West Coast things didn't go over big back then. You know what I mean?
No, I'll give you another big name, Roman Gabriel.
Yeah, I love him.
Remember that kicker that had half a foot? I forget what
Tom
team he was.
Dempsey.
No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth.
There were so many of them.
Once again, Springsteen, Rosie Greer, excellent analogy.
Oh, okay. Hey, Artie, real quick, I need you to Google the Munsters Zombos Transformation. And you just need to, that'll tell you how much weed I smoke. When you Google that to me reminds me of you, kind of. Just pretend you're Eddie when you Google Zombos Transformation on the Munsters episode.
I know the episode. I know the episode you're talking about, and that's probably one of the worst insults I've ever gotten, but thank you.
Thanks for the call, Uncle Randy. It's a Nick and Artie show, 800-546-7663. We're going to cover everything. Janet Jackson. We're going to talk about this minor leaguer hitting on a waitress. One of our favorite stories. We got Joe Theismann at the top of the second hour.
Here's Rosie Greer on guitar.
Here you go.
Now back to two guys who know so little about sports, they think breaking balls is something only wives are allowed to do.
Wow, that was sexist.
Boy, that guy can deliver a line.
Welcome back, the Nick and Artie Show, 800-546-7663. And me and Artie were having a good chuckle over this headline. Waitress says minor leaguer groped her. Actually, this is the quote he said to her. Do you know who I am? I play for the Valley Cats.
Do you know who I am? I'm Mo Green. I made my bones when you were going out with cheerleaders.
Are we saying that guy should be shot in the eye?
Yes. On a training table in Albany.
Hey, listen, you can't. It happened in Albany?
Yeah, that's what it says. It's a Tri-City Valley, a Houston Astros affiliate.
Listen, in Albany.
What happened in Albany Bar? Yeah.
In Albany, if you play for the Valley Cats, that could get you, some ass.
Yeah, male. We maybe we've glorified athletes too much in this country. He's like a single A player. That's
single A. Yeah.
He allegedly grabbed her chest and behind.
Well, that's wrong. A double A guy should be allowed to do that.
Exactly. And then he said to her, "Look at my OPS.
What's
my
that?
on base percentage.
Oh,
and look at my power numbers." And then she did them.
Did he really say, "Look at my OPS"? Oh,
But that's the new one, right? That's the on base plus slugging, right? Something like that.
Really,
That's the
these
new
new
one.
these new stats I hate.
You hate those?
Oh, come on.
You like that, Artie.
I
Come
don't
on.
like
You love
it. I
math.
don't like
you
it.
were very good in math. in high school.
OPS. All of a sudden, I got to worry about an OPS.
How about WHIP? What does that stand for?
WHIP?
Yeah.
WIP?
WHIP.
I don't know.
I thought you
That's
did.
an acronym?
Yeah, it is. I see it all the time. Aaron, you must know. You work for ESPN.
You mean in sports, WHIP is an acronym?
It's a statistic for pitchers. Walks, hits, innings pitched. Is that right? I'm guessing.
Walks plus hits per inning pitched.
See, that's another one.
Who cares?
I know. Well, I don't know. The nerds have taken
how
over.
How many wins and losses a guy got?
And what's he weigh when he starts the season? And what's he weigh at the All-Star break?
I want to know RBIs, home runs.
I agree. And I get pissed when people like poop on, I don't know, like, Teixeira only hit 248. Yeah, well, I'll take 228 if you're going to hit 40 homers or 38 homers and 120 RBIs every year. Overrated the...
You think batting average is overrated?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
I'll take the idea is to score runs. That's how you win, you know?
I think a lot of these creeps agree with you. That's why we're coming up with these new stats.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Like you go on the computer and you type in...
Punch and Judy?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like you used to actually do it with a pen and a pad. Now, you know, these computers, it's like we're living in times of magic.
I call them machines.
Yeah. A guy showed me, like, some guy had an iPhone and he took a picture of a cheeseburger I was eating, and the amount of calories came up on the iPhone. There's, like, something you could do for that. And I'm like, there's, like, evil forces out there working. That shouldn't be allowed.
Right. Absolutely right. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was right on the money, man. It's going to destroy us.
So let me get this straight. You don't like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, but you support Ted Kaczynski.
Yes. Could I make it any clearer? I've said it 2 nights in a row. What do you mean? You disagree with me. This technology is ruining it.
I'm just saying the way he reacted to it was a bit much.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I mean, some broad loses a daughter on prom night 30 years ago. I can't have a Miller Lite. Come on, stop with that.
But I'm saying if you don't like computers, you shouldn't. You're not advocating sending bombs to somebody's house.
No.
All right, okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
M80s or something.
I'm saying Kaczynski overreacted a little.
M80s. You shouldn't blow a hand up, but a finger would make a point. How about our board operator dressed like Quint from Jaws' little assistant? Remember the guy carrying the fish bucket? Look, Dennis. Dennis has a plaid shirt on. He's got a plaid shirt, khaki pants, and like a baseball Greek fishing hat.
See, I think he looks good. This is why I know nothing.
Artie's going to take a picture of it. No, it's...
little chewing.
Dennis is the best.
Little tenderizing. Down you go. Wait, let me take a picture of that and tweet it.
Let's take a quick call before we go to break. Let's go to Brian in Orlando. He's got news on Sid Rosenberg. Brian,
hey, Nick and Artie, big fans, guys. Love the show.
What? Thank you, Brian. What's going on with Sid?
Hey, so I heard Sid on the show the other day. Sid Rosenberg. He was great, by the way. But
right.
I heard, actually, I read on Twitter that he's been suspended, if not fired, by his radio station in Miami, WQAM.
For what?
I read that he got kind of into it with Reindeer Randy Moeller, who calls the Florida Panther games. And I don't know if
Sid always does
the word that rhymes with wussy, but that's what Sid called Randy. So Randy stormed in and threatened to throw him down a flight of stairs in an elevator shaft, and they got into it. And WQAM carries the Panther games, and both Randy and Sid were supposed to call the game tomorrow. So
is that right? Hey, we're going to check in on that right now. We got the producer texting. We're going to find out.
He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. He's got a
bring
phone
him on.
and
He was great with you guys, but yeah, you should try to get him on and get the scoop from him.
Yeah, yes. we appreciate the update, Brian. You're a good man.
Yeah, I listen to you guys every night, and Artie, I'm going to watch you tonight on Letterman.
Oh,
Very
thanks,
good.
buddy. Thanks. Yeah, I'm on Letterman tonight. Yeah, Sid always does something. That's why he's so entertaining. He always says something wrong, but it's funny a lot of the time.
Who threw who down the stairs? As a hockey player?
I don't know. I was drinking coffee during the whole
too.
call. I heard Sid Rosenberg in Florida Panthers, and I went, why am I here? No, Sid. If that's true, I feel bad because Sid's a great guy. I've known Sid for years, and I hope he didn't get fired.
Well, I same here. He's very. It seems like everywhere he goes, he gets in a little bit of trouble, but he always gets another job.
But you can't call somebody.
He's like Kyle Orton.
You can't call somebody the word that
The
rhymes
P
with
word.
wussy
Right.
anymore. You can't.
No, can't do that.
What is wrong with that?
I told you, Aaron. Keep an eye on the clock. I know 800-546-7663. I agree with you. It's the times we're living in, But we got Joe Theismann coming up.
A guy who is not something that rhymes with wussy.
Exactly.
A tough guy.
And he was a tough guy. And used to watch him. Remember those Dallas Redskin rivalries back when football?
Oh, God.
We're going to talk to Joe Theismann. Take some more of your calls. It is the Nick and Artie Show.
And now, live from America's Man Cave.
It's a cool, realistic world.
It's the Nick and Artie Show.
Uh-oh. Look out. Here it goes.
Welcome back, the Nick and Artie Show. 800-546-7663. Big matchup I'm looking forward to this weekend is Cowboys at Pats.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Artie in a bad mood tonight?
I could care less about it.
Why?
Because I don't like either team. I mean, if I was still gambling, I would bet on one of them and make it interesting.
Well, that's why I'm interested. I hate the Cowboys. And you know what? I know somebody else who probably hates the Cowboys because he had quite a few run-ins with the Cowboys.
Right.
It's the great Joe Theismann online. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. How are you?
What's going on, Joe? It's a pleasure to talk to you, man. We're big fans, and we got a few questions. What's the deal with Tim Tebow? Does he have the stuff to make it in Denver?
I think we're going to find out a lot more about him over the next 3 weeks. The fans out there, as you know, have been clamoring for him. They really just were waiting for Kyle Orton to make enough mistakes so that they could replace him, and he did. He accommodated him, unfortunately, for him. But it's going to be an opportunity for Tim to go out and see if he can play this game. I mean, you can't run around at this level and think that you're going to make a living with your legs for a very long period of time. And so we all get a chance to see if he was ready. I mean, he was like the third-team quarterback on that roster when they put him in just this past weekend, so against San Diego. So I'm as curious as you guys are, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was ready from a throwing standpoint. He was 4 for 10 throwing the football. But, everything's about sound bites and that
right.
And,
right.
He ran the ball once and scored a touchdown and got excited. And, Brandon Lloyd made a great catch on a pass that was going nowhere. And, I mean, he brings an energy, he brings an excitement, he brings an enthusiasm, which is great. But I still think the bottom line at this level is you have to be, a better thrower of the football. And there are the exceptions to the rule, like Joe Flacco, for example, is completing less than 50% of his passes. And the Ravens look like, they're going to be a tough team to beat in the AFC. So I'm curious, just like you guys are. I really don't know what to look for yet.
I heard he throws like Sonny Jurgensen.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Sonny's stomach led the way.
Hey Joe, what do you think of Michael Vick and how he plays the position? What do you think of that guy?
I like Mike. I really do. He's really trying hard to hold this football team together. And if you look at the games that they've played, the 5 games they've played, 4 of them they rightfully could have won. They had chances in every game to play. They're putting the ball on the ground. He's thrown 7 interceptions. 5 of them he's got the ever-loving Jesus knocked out of him as he releases the ball. So,
right.
So much of that has to go with the people around him. But, I mean, his receiver, Avant put it on the ground this week. Macklin put it on the ground last week. I hope they don't get it together for another week because they play the Redskins this weekend. So, I hope the Philadelphia Eagles want to be the Philadelphia Eagles for one more week and then, go on a tear for a while. I think it'd be great.
You mentioned Brandon Lloyd, and Denver's they're going to trade him, aren't they? Why are they putting a guy up that could help out Tebow? Why are they going to release him?
I don't, something? I saw it in the paper today as I was flying back to D.C. I read it, and it said that they want to trade him before the deadline on Tuesday, and I'm thinking, here's a guy who, was all-world a year ago, and now he seems to be the only guy that's making plays, and now you want to get rid of him. It has to be something more than just football-related, and those are things that you're just not quite how to put your finger on it, but it has to be something to do with either attitude or comments or potential problems coming up. I mean, sometimes teams are proactive if they think there's a potential problem coming up. So it could be any number of those things, but that struck me as very surprising.
And then you got in New York City, a little bit of turmoil on the Jets with their wide receivers. Let me ask you a question. When you were a quarterback, were the wide receivers, were they always yapping and getting in trouble in the paper? No. Why are they always the divas? I don't remember Monk and those guys doing this stuff.
No, Art Monk was a professional.
No, and you don't see anybody in New England talking that way, and you don't see anybody.
Right.
You just don't see. Good football teams don't need wide receivers calling team meetings like in Philadelphia, and guys in New York. What room does Plexico Burress have to say anything about anything? Let's be perfectly honest about it.
Absolutely.
He's blessed that he has a job. If I was Plexico, I would really, really just try and take care of my own little red wagon and not worry about why Derek Mason isn't on the team or what's going on. Sometimes these guys get hung up and think that they want to be leaders, but they don't know how to do it, so they use their mouth to think that's the way. And Plex should just be quiet. Believe me, Rex does enough talking for the Jets that nobody else has to do it. I mean, Rex will say everything that needs to be said when the time is right. But they have, that's a football team that basically wants to run the football. They haven't been able to do it very well. We talked about the whole off season. The whole off season, you heard about the Jets are going to throw the ball around. The Jets have put some receivers around Mark Sanchez, and it's going to be an entirely different approach to football. Well, the problem with the lockout was you couldn't install any of the things that you wanted to do. You had to go back and be what you were last year. And they're not as good as they were a year ago. They don't have the same personnel. And what really gets overlooked, guys, and anybody that I think understands football can appreciate this, is if you don't have a good offensive line, you've got no chance at having a decent offense.
Right.
That's the bottom line. I mean, unless you're Ben Roethlisberger has people bounce off him, and or you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's just a phenom where the offensive line gets hurt and he adjusts accordingly. And see, here's a classic example: is the Green Bay Packers last week lose both their tackles. They got a young one starting, they lost one, they had to move them around. And so what Mike McCarthy did, their coach, is he started keeping in tight ends and backs to help them out. I mean, that's just great in-game adjusting by a coach.
Right.
And again, you take a look at the Chicago Bears, and Jay Cutler's getting just slammed all over the place.
Right.
And it's like, good luck, Jay. Have at it, buddy. We'll catch you maybe the next time around when you heal. But it was a different kind of an approach. And so to me, I just think that, you're never quite sure what you're going to get. And a lot of it has to do with the off seasons. And, the guys in New York, this is what happens with teams that really aren't sure. I mean, for receivers to say, I want the ball, we never said anything. I never, if my guys made some great catches for me, and they dropped some of them in their hands. And that's just the way the business is. But I think we can't lose sight of the fact that we're just five games into a season. There's a whole 2/3 of a season left.
Yeah.
A lot of things can happen. But, I think the Jets are going to be hard-pressed to catch New England in that division. And
Joe, I'm a Giant fan, I'm sorry to tell you. And
that's okay. You hate your issues. I mean, when you were a child, I know what happened when you were a child. You were misled. It's okay. Yeah, somebody probably hung something blue in your room one day. They didn't paint the powder blue; they painted it the dark blue. And like the first TV set you saw, it was a Giant game, and you thought, "Oh, that's cute. I think I'll like them." And then he went and got a cute little hat and all that. I know, Artie. Listen, I know about you. I know that background.
Yeah.
And I forgive. I do. I forgive.
I did. I had some bad parenting. You're right, but I grew up in Sea Caucus in the weeds.
Well, see, need I say no more?
I got to ask you this, and I'm sorry to bring up something that's probably been asked a million times to you, but you're part of one of the most iconic plays in the history of pro sports. When Lawrence Taylor's entire body falls on your calf and you get a compound fracture, I'm just like, did you pass out? Like, what was your immediate reaction? Was it pain? Did you pass out? Was the next thing you knew you were in a hospital somewhere? Like, what happened right after that?
No, the first thing that went through my mind was, dang, this hurts. Really, I never went into shock. The pain was incredibly excruciating. I have had people come up to me. People come up, and they're very kind to ask, and they'll come up and say, "Hey, Joe, tell me, that night Lawrence Taylor snapped your leg, did it hurt?" And my comment to them is, do me a favor. Hang your leg over the curb. I'll be right back with my car, and then you tell me how it
Exactly.
We can have that same kind of a feeling. But no, it hurt tremendously, and then all of a sudden you find out how wonderful and magnificent the body is. From the knee down, my leg was completely numb. And as a matter of fact, the whole evening just had a series of incidents to it. I'm coming off the field, and I look at Harry Carson, and I'm on the gurney, and they stop the gurney for a second, and I sort of sit up, and I never lost consciousness. I never went into shock. And I pointed at Harry, and we play in this gladiator macho world, so now I'm going into this macho whatever. So I look at Harry, and I said, "Harry, don't you worry about it. I'll be back." And he says, "That would be the case, pal, but it ain't going to be tonight." And that was my conversation going off the field. And then when I get to the hospital, when they moved me from the ambulance gurney to the hospital gurney, they forget to pick up the lower part of my right leg. So they're
come on,
under my knee, honest, under my knee, and they don't really take the heel of my right leg. And so they lift me from one gurney to the other. I look at my right leg, and it just like drops down like an elbow. And I'm
my God.
Excuse me. Can somebody get the rest of me here, please? I had absolutely no feeling from the knee down. As a matter of fact, when I went into the prep room before the surgery, I had them bring in a black and white TV with a coat hanger in it so I could watch the rest of the game. And they didn't put me under and didn't work on my leg until the game was over. I think it was Phil Simms took a fourth down play and it was incomplete, and that was the that was the evening for me. And then never had a chance to really go back and play after it. But it was that evening really changed my life. I'm
sure.
But as a person, I'd become a total ego idiot. I mean, I was a jerk. I thought everything revolved around me, and I thought the world revolved around me, and it all ended. And then when something that you really want is taken from you, you get introspective. And
I got to break my leg like that?
Yeah, so if you need some help, I know somebody I can send to fix it for you, Artie.
Hey, Joe, we got to wrap it up. It's been a real thrill for me and Artie to talk to you. We've watched you for years on the field and now the NFL Network, and it's been a thrill. We thank you for taking the time.
You made the show legit.
Yes.
Listen, you guys are fun. I enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully we can do it again.
Thanks a lot, Joe. The great Joe Theismann, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take more of your calls, talk about the NFL, look at some picks I made and how bad I am. And the final, the Cards, 7-1. So
Cardinals are in it, man.
I'm telling you, they're on their way. We'll be back right after this.
Some fellas look at the eyes, and some fellas look at the nose. Some fellas look at the side, and some fellas look at the clothes.
Now back to two guys who think taking your foot off the rubber is what you do when you step on a used condom.
Yes, it is, especially if you're barefoot. Welcome back, folks. Nick and Artie. 800-546-7663. We're going to take a few of your calls, talk more football. Brandon Marshall for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Another wide receiver can't shut his yap. It's hilarious to me.
It is a new thing, though. I don't remember that going on a lot in the 70s. And
No.
I mean, you like Cliff Branch would smoke a cigarette on the sidelines, but he wouldn't say anything. You know.
With all the social media, you know, they love it.
Right.
These guys love their gadgets, man. You know what I mean? And it's unbelievable to me. Well, I mean, come on, you had Ocho Cinco. Remember he pulling a cell phone out after he scored?
I thought that was Terrell Owens. Was that Ocho Cinco?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, Terrell Owens had the Sharpie waiting in the end zone, and he signed the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ocho
Cinco's going over his Verizon plan. Fighting with a customer service guy in the end zone.
Those two guys, while again they were both on the Bengals are about 2-9.
Yeah.
They had a show on called the T.O. Show,
right,
where they just giggled about stuff. They've never made a point. I watched it a couple of times. You're a Bengals fan again, and you're washing off that Bengals paint that you put on for the game. Nothing's happening, and those two guys are on television.
He said, he was quoted, Brandon Marshall for the Dolphins, he's been playing with his emotions in check and plans to show more passion Monday night against the Jets with the goal of getting kicked out of the game in the second quarter.
I'll tell you.
Can we bet on that, Artie,
He sounds like a nut.
He says, I'm not joking. I'm serious. Marshall told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, they're going to fine me. It's probably going to be like $50,000. But that quarter and a half that I'm out there, I'm going to play like a monster. I might get in a fight with Bart Scott, Antonio Cromartie. Then he said, we pretty much matured our relationship and grew a little bit.
Where are they interviewing him? Creedmoor?
We used to fight in Denver and San Diego. If that happens, it happens. So we'll see. But, you know, now this is a footnote. In July, Marshall disclosed he was diagnosed earlier with borderline personality disorder.
Oh.
I'd make him the offensive coordinator. You want to see some creative plays?
First of all, I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder several times, and that's BS. That thing. Yeah. I have I have one personality, and it's very orderly. This guy, but this guy sounds like fun. Like again, like we were saying, like with Harry Carey and stuff. Where's the fun? That's a fun guy to say I'm going to get. My goal is to get ejected from the game.
You do get a point.
You know, it's not boring.
You do get a point.
I mean,
we take ourselves way too serious.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I used to hate I still hate a guy makes a tackle and he dances for 5 minutes. That still gets on my nerves.
Unless he's a good dancer.
Exactly. But then, you know, it dawns on you. They're playing it. It's a game, man. You know, it's like, come on. They tried to blow somebody up in D.C. last week. A Saudi Arabian diplomat in a restaurant. So there are more important things.
Right, like if the Supreme Court, after they made a decision, started to do like a dance or like a moonwalk or something, I'd go, that's inappropriate. You know what I mean? But when a football player does it, who cares? The guy plays football.
But I like the coach came out, Tony Sperano for the Dolphins, and he said, obviously Brandon was 50% kidding. That's right. He's borderline personality. Which personality was that? Was it the 50% who's crazy or that's serious?
That was the fun personality.
Let's go to Bill in the Bay Area in California. Bill, welcome to the Nick and Artie Show. Go ahead, Bill.
Great show. I love the show. I'm a big Phillies fan and Eagles fan, and I heard that guy Bort calling the other day as well, and I know that guy. He came over my house one time. We were hanging out, and he was at my place, and we all went to sleep for the night, and he cooked a bunch of chicken nuggets in our microwave. And the next morning we woke up, and he forgot to eat them because there was a big pile of them there still in the microwave. And we found,
too
we were like,
busy
what
on
the hell's going on here?
He was
So,
too focused
anyway.
on his hockey scores.
I want to thank this guy for the greatest call in the history of sports radio.
Thank you, Bill.
Our listeners know each other. What are the odds of that?
That's not a good sign.
You're listening to a radio show and a guy calls in and, wait, that guy was at my house once.
You know Joe from Denver that called on a Tuesday? I picked him up at the hardware store.
The guy
buying a shovel.
And boy, I'll tell you, that guy could weave a tale, can he? You're waiting on his every word.
Oh, my
He
God.
came over to my house and made chicken nuggets. We went to sleep. We woke up and the chicken, he forgot to eat them. Anyways, I like you guys.
There was in a pile. The nuggets.
He forgot to eat them.
Did I mention they was in a pile? Let's go.
I love that guy. Keep calling in, buddy. And first of all, he's in the Bay Area. He
Yeah.
knows Vortman in Chicago.
Yeah.
And he's an Eagle-Philly fan.
I know.
Guy gets around.
God, help us. Real quickly, let's go to a guy in Long Island. I can't see his name. It says Am on the thing.
Hey, guys.
Am or Arm? What's up, brother?
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to compliment Artie. I cannot believe you used Bill Russell and Mario Cantone in the same joke.
You see, that's what this show is. You're not going to hear that on any other sports talk show.
They actually played one-on-one.
See if you can work Elgin Baylor and Jim David in before the night's over.
It's an excellent comedy reference.
Got to be a comedian. Got to be a comic. This
Excellent.
Kid. Gotta be
Hey,
a comic.
guys. Artie, first of all, I want to. I went running the other day, and you've emasculated
Why?
my MP3 player.
Did you see Vortman?
What happened?
I went running the other day. You emasculated my MP3 player. I ran out of music to put on it, so I put on goof around music. I got lost in some a-hole neighborhood in Comac, Long Island. I asked the cop for directions, so I had to pull my headphones out so the player comes out, and all he hears is, "I know I just fall in love again, just one touch and then it happens every time." And
that's
Oh, my goodness.
I just fall in love again, and when I do, I can't help myself.
I'm getting my period.
Fall in love with you.
Okay, that's me singing Anne Murray. The question is, why is it?
The cop heard it, and he tased me.
He should have. Why is that on your MP3 player?
Because I just got bored. I ran out of Born Classic, and I just put on goof around music, and that was playing while I was running. And I pulled my headphones out, and then the audio comes out, and anybody can hear it. You know, you're in your own little world. And the cop heard
it was an
Anne
accident.
Murray coming from my. Guys, let me actually get to a sports question. Holding in the NFL.
Real quickly, you're up against a break.
Holding in the NFL is out of hand. And Nick, I think that's your problem with the NFL. Action is stopping, and it doesn't even affect the play. It's like you're dry humping Dennis Miller at 1 in the afternoon. You look at the thing, there's a pitch out to the left side. There's a holding on the right tight end. Doesn't affect the play. There's nothing. Why are they calling this call? And they're proving now your Aikmans and your. By the way, Theismann was a great spot. There's nothing, and they're bagging these refs. The refs just want to prove they have a whistle, so they're calling holding because it's so ambiguous you can't prove it. What?
Exactly.
This goddamn holding, they got to get rid of it.
All right. Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Guy got his own show audition.
I mean, he was making some good points.
Absolutely.
And he did a good Anne Murray, but...
you could call holding on every play in the NFL, as a matter of fact.
If you really look at it.
If you look at it.
It's like walking in the NBA. They walk every time.
Oh, do they ever?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But, all right, folks, we got more to get to. It's Nick and Artie. We're going to talk my picks. We'll get to my picks. That should be a good hoot. And talk more NFL. We're going to talk...
Hockey unders.
Hockey unders. We're going to talk about other things, political stuff, Halloween not being allowed. Anyways, it's a Nick and Artie show. We'll be back right after this.
Back to two guys who believe the only time you should balk is right before you order a $45 block of porn in your hotel room.
Welcome back to the Nick and Artie Show. 800.
That's a big block.
800-546-7663. Yeah. It's one of those, it goes from noon to noon, you know?
Yeah, right. Just constant.
You'll be flipping through. You're watching, like, the cooking channel.
I went to high school with a kid who always had the Pope of Greenwich Village on a loop? On a loop in his house. Which I respected, quite frankly.
I didn't know you knew Eric Roberts.
Like Michael Jackson with Liz Taylor movies.
We got, later on in the show, we got Artie's appearance tonight on Letterman. We're going to play the audio, I guess.
Yeah.
When? After they watch it at home? What time are we going to do that? At the same time? I mean...
No, not at the same time.
We're going to get feedback from the caller?
Probably in our 12 o'clock hour.
In the 12 o'clock hour. We're going to watch Artie's appearance. It'd be great.
Yeah, it's an odd appearance because the first minute he seriously asked me about my problems and
like
almost
the president
like a therapist. Yeah. But he was very nice about it.
Yeah.
So it's always fun doing Letterman, and he plugs the show, so it'll be fun to listen to maybe.
Absolutely. Let's go to Johnny the Greek in Korea. Johnny, welcome to the show. What's happening?
I got a real recommendation for you based on your Elvis talk last night. It was kind of funny. 2 books you want to read, and I don't have a piece of either of these. But also, by the way, you do have to answer for Santino. The one is based on his drug use, but it centers around his entire life. It's called Revelations from the Memphis Mafia. 3 of the bodyguards and hangers-on wrote about it, and it talks about when they took him, supposedly, when they took him to the hospital to get his stomach pumped, the time he died, there were so many pills coming out, it sounded like gravel hitting an aluminum pan. And so that's just one quote you might like. It's like an oral biography, right? And the other one for Artie, you're going to really like because you're a big rock and roll guy. You guys know who Bill Graham was?
Oh, yes, sure, the promoter.
Yeah, the concert promoter. Yeah, check out Bill Graham Presents. It's if you haven't already read it, it's the best rock book you'll ever read.
I actually own it.
I bet you do.
A fan once gave it to me at a gig, and I still haven't read it, but I heard it's amazing. A lot of great stories.
I got the book Billy Graham, the Pastor.
Yeah,
that was exciting.
There's great stories about him too, but you've probably already heard them. Anyway, thanks guys. Have a good weekend, and thanks for all the laughs. We love you.
You too, Johnny the Greek. Have fun in Seoul. Johnny the Greek from Korea.
Johnny in Korea. Be careful.
And folks, make note of that call. You callers, he kept it succinct and short and sweet. What?
Succinct.
Yeah. What's so funny? Aaron just gave me a thumbs up for that comment. Artie's laughing in my face. It's not a platform to do 8 minutes of stand-up.
I just like when you throw in those college words. Succinct.
It's a pretty good word.
It's a good word.
I was going to say pithy, but that's too Bill O'Reilly-like,
Pithy. That's what Sid Rosenberg got fired for saying. Pithy.
If he had a lisp. Exactly right.
Pithy.
I got some good pithy last night. Pithy, I said, by the way. If you people don't have to dump it, I said pithy.
By the way, I think it's official. We did hear. I think Sid did get fired, and we love Sid. Sorry, buddy. I hope you're all right.
And not because of us, let's be clear, because he told that, Obama off-color joke, but that wasn't...
No. He didn't say anything wrong here. I don't think.
What did he do? He punched an old lady in the back of the neck?
I don't know what happened, but
we're kidding.
I like Sid, and I hope he's doing all right.
I guarantee he'll be back on the air because he's so talented. He runs into problems here and there, but any city you could be driving across the country, you'll hear him in Denver.
Yeah,
and then you get to Oakland. Well, he's on in Oakland.
When you get to Oakland, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go over my picks real quick, shall we?
Yeah, how'd they do?
No, what do you mean how'd they do?
You had 4 last week.
Yeah,
right?
I was trying not to bring that up, Artie.
Well, I loved bringing it up.
How'd you do?
I'm not allowed to do anything like that anymore.
Even for fun?
I can't even do a little pool like you're in.
That's right. It's a trigger. Should I not do this?
No, you can do whatever you want.
Are you going to run to an OTB during the next break or something?
What about the lines of Coke Dennis has been doing in between commercials?
Who, the fisherman? Look at him.
That's a joke, Dennis. I never saw it.
We never saw Dennis doing lines of coke. He can't afford that. He's working the board. Listen.
I remember when I could afford it.
Atlanta laying 4.5 at home against Carolina. Atlanta's 2-3. Carolina's 1-4. I took the Falcons laying 4.5.
Nice.
I think it's a safe bet, right? They're due to bust out.
Oh, God. Take that to the bank.
Oh, come on. The sarcasm is just...
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that you're still going down that dead-end road of gambling, pal.
I'm sorry. I can. That's why I'm boring. I told you. Moderation.
Yeah,
There's a great quote. I'll look it up. We'll Google it when Dennis takes his fishing hat off and his hip boots.
You're one of those guys who in his 40s is still allowed to do stuff.
Yeah, well, you got to go easy.
I
Stuff
know.
feels good. There's one thing that I can't stop.
Oh.
It's a hand gesture I just did to Artie below the waist.
Very pithy.
Mamma mia. Detroit Lions are at home against the 49ers. Detroit's laying 4.5. Detroit's undefeated. San Francisco's 4-1. And I went with the 49ers, the upstart 49ers. Aaron doesn't like that one. I thought about that one for a while, Aaron, and I'm a little...
I'd like these picks if they were a little more succinct.
God, help this SOB. I'm trying my heart out over...
I love when pick... I just love busting guys' chops when they give picks.
Cincinnati.
It always sounds stupid.
Cincinnati at home laying 7.5.
Yeah.
Against Indianapolis. I went with the Colts.
Oh, good for you.
0-5. I think they could stay. They're not going to win the game, but
you're betting on an 0-5 team.
Absolutely.
I've done that before.
I know you have.
Yeah.
Look at your sneakers. They're dirty.
I'm wearing the same pants I wore at a Rush concert in 1981.
Eagles. Eagles are favored over the Redskins at Washington. Eagles are favored by 1.5. Philly's 1-4, way overdue. And I took the Eagles.
Wow, look at you.
Redskins are 3-1, but Michael Vick is due to break out and hurt himself.
What's at stake in this little pool? Like about what could you win? Like $11 or something?
No, excuse me, Sonny boy. We keep track of each week.
Yeah,
you can win about like $600.
Oh wow!
And then at the end of the year, total up to like $3,000 or something.
Oh, $3,000. That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Nowadays, what can you buy a smartphone with that?
No, exactly. And the problem is, last year it was a Chinese woman who's been in the country 6 minutes who won it.
I hate that. I hate when women win bets.
Oh, come on. And they're always at the top of the list.
Oh,
why'd you pick the Dolphins? Oh, my wedding dress was the same color as that chin strap.
Right. Yeah.
Green Bay is laying 14.5 at home against the St. Louis Rams. And I jumped all over Green Bay. That's a no-brainer.
You think they're going to destroy them?
Oh, please. Aaron Rodgers is in a zone, and the St. Louis Rams haven't done anything since the Super Bowl against the Pats. They lost.
Reminds me of January 1990, Broncos and the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. Niners given 14 and a hook maybe, 14.5. And I thought the Broncos would cover.
Yeah.
3 hours later, final score, 55-10 49ers.
I remember.
Yeah.
Worst one ever, wasn't it?
I also lost the coin toss. Under-over on interceptions in the third quarter.
And a girlfriend.
Yeah. And, most of my memory.
Well, that's some of the picks. We're going to do the rest when we come back. And there's some real doozies in it you'll probably yell at me for.
I'll give you my pick of the week.
What's the pick of the week?
I think the Jets are due to cover to cover with the Dolphins.
Well, I'll tell you what I picked in that game when we get back. It's Nick and Artie, 800-546-7663. Call us. Let us know who you're picking, whether we're wrong, right, or if you know anything at all.
Now back to two guys who think the movie Moneyball is about the New York State Lottery. Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang.
That's us. What tone is this? Is this one of yours?
Huh?
Is this a riff that you picked?
No, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, they're starting to play their own stuff.
Well, that's what happens when you write down 70 songs, 42 bumpers.
Yeah, exactly.
And they use 6 of them.
Where did we leave off? We're going over my picks for the weekend in the NFL, and it's a beautiful league for that. It's designed for that. There's so much parity.
A lot
the
at
teams
stake.
are interchangeable. I agree with you, Artie. Some of the matchups are like Jacksonville. Who gives a rat's?
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot at stake. $3,000, my God.
Come on, stop being with the
Or
sarcasm.
$600.
Huh? What are you talking about? It cost me $100 to get into this pool. Again, this is boxes of ziti. We don't do money here, right?
I thought this was a legal little pool.
No, this is boxes of ziti.
Right. Well, good luck with it.
Boy, huh?
I'm bitter because I can't do it.
Well, I'm
I
going to
am.
make you do it.
No, well, I can't do it. I can't
You can,
gamble.
too.
I can't gamble.
I'm going to give you $5.
There's only one thing fun that I'm allowed to do left, and that's
manja.
Now have a little extra mayonnaise on my tuna.
Where did you remember where I left off? Anybody? Not that it matters. Pittsburgh at home, laying 12.5 against that powerful Jacksonville team.
Yeah,
jumped all over Pittsburgh.
Oh, so you're taking all these big favorites. You like that?
Roethlisberger could have a Denver boot on his foot.
Yeah,
he's still going to throw for 3,000
He's a
yards.
tough guy.
You know.
Well, you see, what you should do then is parlay it with the over, because if you think it's going to be a big, you can't do that in a little
I was
pool
going to
because
say
there's
it's
women in it.
Hard to do in a pool when your sister designed it. Hey, mommy, I want to do an A&R.
This is great.
My dad's like, about a birdcage, action reverse parlay.
Yeah.
Giants. Giants are laying 3.5 against Buffalo. Giants are at home. Buffalo 4-1. Giants are 3-2. Coming off a big loss against Seattle.
Tough game.
Tough game, but you know what? I couldn't go against a kid from Harvard.
Conan O'Brien?
Yes, exactly. He's starting this week. Fitzpatrick turned his ankle. I took Buffalo, getting the 3.5.
Really?
Yeah. You got Brandon Jacobs hurt. You got Sneers out, and you got somebody else's key that's out. Who is it? Dennis knows. Couple key injuries for the Giants. That's it. If you want.
Yeah.
I never. But no matter how good Buffalo is, it's hard to take them. But I did anyways, Artie.
Yeah, well, that's one of our. As we know, Buffalo, for me and Nick, one of our favorite cities to do stand-up in, especially in February.
Always in February.
Yeah.
There's always 40 feet of snow. I used to complain. I go, what? And they always say the same thing. Well, it's the lake effect. Well, put a tarp over the lake.
Well, how about no one lived there?
Nuts. It's nice up there. Come on, the Anchor Bar.
It is nice.
You had the wings.
We've said this before. You could get like an 18-bedroom house for 40 G's up there.
That's right. Indoor pool, 7 maids, sits on 52 acres, 11.5.
An indoor above-ground pool.
That was the best one ever. Indoor above ground. Oakland Raiders favored by 6.5 over the Cleveland Browns in Oakland. What? I took Cleveland?
When do you make these picks?
Right after I left the bar, Del Frisco's.
Yeah.
Boy, even I'm going to scold myself on that one. 800-546-7663. We want to hear some of your picks. I'd go to Tony in Queens, but I can't. I got to get through these. Very important. What the hell's that?
Hey, what's up, guys?
That's Tony. That's Tony in Queens' radio.
No, it's Matt and I think it's Matt and St. No, it is Tony in Queens. Hey,
Hey,
Tony.
what's up, Artie? Nice hearing you back on the radio, buddy.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, my football pick. I can't believe you took the Niners in the Super Bowl, Artie. Oh, man, that's when Young went off when they gave him the record for, what 6 touchdowns or something like that?
No, you're thinking of 95. 49-26 was the score of that game when they beat the Chargers. And I had the Chargers. They got Chargers in the under.
Oh, that was Montana, the 55-10, probably the back-to-back then.
Yeah, Montana was 55-10, yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm going to give you my pick. You ready? I'm taking Detroit if I were you guys. Giving up the 6. I think the Lions should get a
Giving
home
up the
pace.
6? No, he's got a different bookie than me.
What line do you have, Nick?
My Aunt Carol gave me 4.5.
4.5 and 6? That's a big difference.
That's a big. What happened? Did Matt Stafford was seen?
I don't think he's hurt.
I like that.
America's
I like that
Lions
pick.
got him at 6, Art.
Okay.
Yeah, 6. All right. Well, I would take Detroit. I think Detroit's on a roll. I think they could cover. Of course, I don't know who they're playing.
49ers, who put up 48 points against Tampa Bay last weekend. I think they're on a roll.
Really?
Yeah, Frank Gore's running like a madman.
Yeah, and Harbaugh's doing a good job as a rookie coach from Stanford.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Is he a rookie coach?
Yeah, this is his first year because he left Luck last year.
Is this his first year? Wow. I like the Harbaugh boys.
Yeah.
I know their football. What else you got, Tony, real quick?
Nothing. I wish you guys all the luck, man. I'm going to tune you guys on the radio, stream you on the computer.
Thank you.
So good luck on the show, guys.
Thanks, Tom. We'll be on a real station in New York real soon. That's what we were told by
Tony in Queens, when we went to him, was listening to an actual radio.
I know. What are you, camping?
What kind of technology is going on over there?
How about the Ravens laying 7.5 at home against the Houston Texans?
How about it?
How about the Texans?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They played bad last week. The Texans murder me. I
Yeah.
always fall for them because for the last 3 years they've been predicted to go to the Super Bowl, and they just disappointing. This year they came out gangbangers again, and now I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I got to say, since I've stopped gambling, I've stopped caring. So I wish you I wish you all the best, because if you win this pool, like you say, I think you can get maybe another blazer.
Only if I go to Joseph A. Bank.
What's at stake here?
Hey, it's
honestly,
there's not a lot at stake. Look, I went through that too, man.
But no, hopefully
I know it's like to lose a couple dimes.
No, I know, but hopefully no one's listening to your picks because you've been doing lousy.
All right, I'm not going to tease you on Letterman then, okay? I'm not teasing Artie on Letterman in a few minutes. We're going to listen to that.
Or
anyways,
tease.
It's Nick and Artie. Stay with us.
And now, the radio program America has been waiting to hear. The radio program that answers the question, hey, what's the matter? The TV broken? It's Nick DiPaolo and Artie Lang. The Nick and Artie Show.
Uh-oh. Look out. Here it goes.
Well, we should have had Toto music lined up, huh? I thought of that this afternoon when I read this, but I ran in the bathroom. Yeah, they created a toilet bike, Neo, a bike that runs on human waste. Why human waste? You know, you can't. Why is it going to be human? If waste works, why does it have to be human? Why not?
I'm sure it runs on any kind of waste.
Well, then let's go with the other kind. I got to get to work. What do I have to do? Load up on enchiladas? Come on.
I'm sure it would run on coyote waste.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And there's a ton of coyote waste in my driveway in the morning.
You know, there is.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you
live in the woods.
You live in the country. You
Yes, I do. It would have been funny if I lived in Brooklyn.
And you fit in there.
Yes, it says human waste. It's basically a moving bathroom, though there is no word on whether or not you have to defecate while you pedal the bike. I've done that before.
Yeah, what's wrong? You can't multitask?
One time the seat fell off my bike. It's a long story. The fecal matter is converted into biogas, which powers the bike. Human waste is apparently very powerful. Well, who doesn't know that? An old man comes out on a Sunday with a newspaper.
Yeah, go to a porta-john at a construction site, and you'll know exactly why these things run.
In July?
They could run forever.
Is that the worst?
Oh, yeah. I remember having to use a spackle bucket a couple of times at a construction site, and boy, that was fun.
Why would they? Now, who would think of this? And what's scary?
The Japanese, they think of everything.
Don't they have enough problems between Nagasaki and then the earthquakes and the nuclear power splitting like a ripe melon? Half of them are glowing like lava lamps, and this is what they do with their spare time? Poor bastards.
Well, I mean, I think that they're innovative people, and I think that this is one of the better inventions of recent years.
Innovative people and very regular, apparently. I mean, what in God's name?
What kind of waste does it have to be? Like, you know.
Well, I just told you. You got to have a, you like you said, maybe you could run on other stuff, but the bike does more than run on poop. It says it can apparently write things in the air using residual light. You can write things, W-R-I-T-E,
right,
in the air like a skywriter using residual light imagery, and it plays music. Are you?
Everything the Japanese invent plays music.
What in God's name? What are you writing in the air? You going to propose to your girlfriend, you know?
Maybe, if you're romantic, unlike yourself.
Hey, honey, I had 2 pounds of cannellini beans. That's something I want to say to you. I'm going to go look at one of these. Apparently, you can get them at any CVS.
That would be great if they sold the human waste motorcycle at CVS. Right next to the Tylenol.
Oh, my God. What will the They really are something else, the Japanese.
I'm for this.
You're for this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how the people at Exxon are going to feel about it, but at least somebody's thinking of this is an alternative energy source.
I mean, the way I eat, I could turn into another Sunoco if this catches on.
Exactly. You could fuel a Greyhound bus, never mind a bike.
How dare you?
Yeah, I've seen your work. And
yeah, what I've done in a couple of Quality Inns around the country could fuel about 18 motorcycles.
Oh, God help us. It's like mustard gas. Lindsay Lohan booted out of community service, which you've done some community service, Artie. How does that work? What did you have to do for community service?
Well, I got arrested when I was 17 for attempted bank robbery with my girlfriend, but it was only a joke. I wrote about it in my book. I wrote a fake hold-up note as a joke, which went over great. And
somebody took it literally.
Yeah, and the cops arrested us. It got knocked down to a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And I had to do 25 hours community service cleaning up outside the courthouse. And, fast food wrappers and stuff. And my buddies, who were good guys, would every half hour drive by and throw more stuff on the lawn. Bunch of jerks.
How, 25 hours?
Yeah, and if
that was it?
No,
for bank robbery?
I didn't rob a bank.
Well, you tried to.
It was a joke.
Well, is that what they ruled?
Yeah, that's what they ruled. It was a joke.
So if it was a joke, why was there any punishment?
I got a lecture from the judge and 25 hours community service because I disrupted the peace. The cops had to come.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't attempted bank robbery.
No. Of course. What do I look like? I'm crazy? What do I look like? I have personality disorder?
You just said you like to ride a bike that runs on feces. Yes, I think you're little Lubats.
Well, if you brought it up, I'm going to comment on it.
I'm going to play.
Yeah, but if you don't show up for community service, that's bad. They could throw you in the joint.
I'm always taking her side because she's got a nice rack and a beautiful face, so she did.
I love her.
She did, but now she's shooting stuff into her lips and starting to look like a wax dummy.
She's starting already with the plastic surgery?
Yeah.
Isn't she like 22?
Yeah, she's nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that signal is for, Aaron. Again, I'm not Molly Matlin. Write it down, son of a...
You're not Marley Matlin?
Yeah. Is that a person?
Yeah, it's a deaf
25,
actress.
what does that mean? Go ahead. You can speak.
Lindsay Lohan is 25.
Oh, she's 25. Okay.
I was a few years off.
You can see how I'd get confused because we're always talking about time on the clock. Can you throw me? So, but she's full of baloney. They're saying she's showing up late for community service, and she says the other girls are treating her mean.
You can't do that. You can't show up late. They really do.
She's saying that's baloney. She showed up on time, and I'm always giving her benefit of the doubt, like I said, because she's a 34 double C.
She really is sexy, Lindsay Lohan.
But I'm giving up now because she's every day for the last 2 years. It's like she says one thing, and the other people say the other thing. She's the one wearing the bracelet on her ankle, and shooting Clorox.
But she still seems to be having a good time. She's over there, every other day she's at a bar doing something fun, she knows how to have a good time even when there's a crisis in her life.
Apparently, she doesn't know anything about triggers in her life.
Well, she might have to learn about them. I'd like to give her a call. Counselor.
Lindsay was terminated from the Women's Center 2 weeks ago and is now fulfilling the rest of her community service at the Red Cross. That's what you want, huh?
I'll tell you, the guys I did community service with, none of them look like Lindsay Lohan. That would have been a nice addition.
Yeah. So, again, she's denying it all. Every day in the paper, she says one thing, and she's due back in court next week, where a judge is going to decide if she's really telling the truth about her community service work ethic or lack thereof. Yeah. So
she's clearly got a great work ethic. Have you seen Mean Girls?
You know, I saw a little bit of it. That's when she was like, how old was she in that movie?
I guess, I don't know, 19-ish or something?
Not even, I don't think.
Yeah.
Very, very, very... 8? Dennis just said 8.
She was 8, and not in Mean Girls. 8. She was in some movie
It was
when she
called
was
Mean
8.
Girls, not Mean Fetuses.
What was she in? She was in like some movie where like it's her and Jamie Lee Curtis and they're doing something wacky. I don't know.
Oh, is that right?
When she was a kid, because she was a kid actress. Parent Trap.
Dennis
Parent
knows.
Trap,
Has
yeah.
all her work, Dennis.
Yeah, apparently.
Dennis is right on top of all this. Anyways, you know what we got coming up, folks, and this is worth it. Artie did Letterman earlier tonight, and we got the audio from it. It went great. He plugged the show, so we're expecting probably by the end of the week, you and I will be able to go to the mall. We'll be getting just but he plugged the radio show, and it's a great spot he did. So if you want to listen to Artie on Letterman, we're going to do that next. It's the Nick and Artie Show, 800-546-7663.
Now, back to two guys who think helmet-to-helmet contact should only be a penalty if it happens in the locker room shower.
That would be me, Nick, and Artie Lang.
Yeah.
Artie, the most interesting man in the world.
The Nick and Artie Show.
Yes, 800-546-7663. We're on the lighter side of the news right now, and
yeah,
we also have about a minute and a half of Artie on Letterman.
Yeah, we ran into some technical problems, and we don't have the whole thing, but
somebody spilled a big gulp on the board, and we lost the first 7 minutes. That would be me.
We have the end of the interview, like the last minute and a half. But then it's fun to hear. It's fun to hear Letterman say the name of the show. It is.
and it's a nationally syndicated show. Well, I don't know what the definition of nationally is, but you know,
it means all over the nation.
I know that, but you know. We're almost there, right? Aaron? Anybody? Hello? Nobody buying that? Okay, great.
It's a good time to be a comedian with Twitter, though.
Oh, sure.
It is, because a lot of these, you can make money. A lot of these girls from reality shows.
That never occurred to me.
They hire comedians to write their tweets for them because they want to seem clever.
Now you write for somebody?
Well, I got a call from my agent, and he said, suppose, like, as an example, Kim Kardashian wanted you to write tweets for her. Would you do it? And I said, yeah, I need the money. But then I started thinking, you know, my mind's not really what it used to be. What if I screw up and accidentally tweet something about my life on her account?
Well, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
You'd like that?
I would love that.
Well,
can you do that, please?
I think...
Now you're talking.
I think she'd fire me if she went to her Twitter page and saw something like, "You're at Kim Kardashian. I just paid a hooker to shave my back."
I've done that. You've done that. I've done that. There you go.
You know, like, "You're at Kim Kardashian. I just threw up a Snickers bar on the subway."
Sure.
I don't think she'd take kindly to that.
Who cares, for God's sake?
Yeah, screw her.
Artie, it's
said that? Was that Letterman or you that said screw?
I said it.
Throwing up a Snickers bar on the subway.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to have your back shaved by a hooker?
$42.
I go to Supercuts for that. That was good, man. Good. Did he not? Oh, we didn't hear him plug it.
Yeah, I guess they cut it off before they plugged the
These
radio
guys.
show.
No, you didn't.
No,
No, absolutely not. Got a nice round of applause there, and
yeah.
Can you write me some tweets?
Yeah, sure.
I don't. My web guy keeps busting my chops about tweeting. I got into it for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
You know, it's you know who's obsessed with it and loves it? Colin Quinn.
Yeah, no, but he writes funny stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
But he intentionally pisses off the public with, like Neil Sedaka.
Right, he'll tell someone you got to go somewhere and watch this.
Yeah,
and then it's Neil Sedaka singing.
He said he's going down to the protest on Wall Street, and he's going to play Neil Sedaka's "Bad Blood."
I'd like to hear that. I'd like to see the protesters dance to that.
Oh, my goodness gracious. How about Janet Jackson? We were talking about,
right.
Speaking of comedians, and, comics open for big acts.
Sometimes, yeah.
Years ago, when I first started, I opened for Patti LaBelle in Vegas.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I had opened for her in Cape Cod a couple times.
Yeah.
In front of like 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Right? And she was the nicest lady I ever met.
Right.
She brings my sister into the green room. She's feeding my sister shrimp. She was trying to hook me up with her niece. She had a beautiful niece, Patti LaBelle did.
And she was trying to hook you up with her?
With her niece.
No kidding.
Yeah. Again, this was 20 years ago.
That's a very nice woman.
No, she was awesome. And but the reason we talk about this is Janet Jackson. Apparently, she has comics opening up for her too, and but it's in her contract. Her contract stipulates that if she's appearing on a bill with a comedian, the comic will be barred from making any reference to the singer or members of the Jackson family.
Well,
yeah, it says the outlawing of jokes about the Jacksons reads Michael's relationship with boys, propofol, rhinoplasty, Janet's weight. These are things you can't talk about. I have 8 minutes on each one of these.
Yeah,
wardrobe malfunctions.
You can't talk about Janet's weight. Oh, that's terrible.
What else is in here? It's unbelievable. The stuff that she wants in her. The tour rider for Jackson's #1 up close and personal world tour. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
There's stuff in her dressing room. She has to have unscented candles that are 3 to 4 inches in diameter.
Unscented.
Didn't you have that when we did Pittsburgh?
Never scented. No. If I had any scent coming from a candle, someone's getting fired.
She also had Votiva red currant scent candles.
Yeah.
Also, she insisted on an arrangement of cut white tulips. That's racist.
She sounds like a pain in the ass.
And this is Janet Jackson, not Michael.
I mean, listen, I understand she doesn't want any jokes about Michael. That's the tragic thing. And if you're at a Janet Jackson concert, you probably don't want to hear that. But
yeah,
nothing about Tito or Marlon even?
But I know, exactly. I'd come out and, I'd do that one I had about when Michael Jackson died. I didn't realize I slept like a baby that night. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other babies that slept like babies that night. See, that might have got, she would have got mad at that. And I would have had to explain myself in the dress. But
I don't think she would have tried to hook you up with her niece.
But listen, but listen to this. She also enjoys she has to have in her dressing room Orbit chewing gum and Gatorade.
Orbit chewing gum and Gatorade.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And assorted Crystal Light drink mixes and organic creamy peanut butter.
Organic creamy peanut butter. I mean, who does this broad think she is? One of the Jacksons?
Exactly.
You see, when you get
Tito?
that big, I mean, you can do stuff like that. But I just how does she sit down and make a list like that? It's like, I mean, unscented candles. Like you request candles and you think enough to say unscented. Like, what scent does she not like from candles?
My writer says I need 3 Michelob Ultra Lights, and a stool.
Mine says an elliptical machine.
And
my dressing room always had a treadmill in it.
Let's go to Cindy in Boston. She watched you on Letterman.
Oh yeah,
Cindy, welcome to the show.
Hi guys. Just want to tell you, we are 4 teachers, and we're having a girls' night out tonight. Well, girls' night tonight. So we watched Letterman when we saw Artie was on, and we decided we had to call you Artie because you look adorable. Each one of us said that. Really, really appealing, and you were really funny. We were laughing out loud. So we thought we'd
thank
let you know.
Are you drunk?
Yeah, truly. Truly, we thought, we're saying it, and we said, why don't we just call? We're not exactly.
How cool is that, Artie?
That's very nice. 4 women in one room that like me is odd.
I mean,
the odds of that are...
Really, we were surprised. You lost a lot of weight, it looks like. Your hair's different. It was fuller. It was combed. And we just said, And we just said, God, he's appealing. And so one of the girls said, call, just tell him at least, so he'll get some feedback from people who have nothing to gain or lose by telling you.
Hey, Cindy, that's very cool. What part of the Massachusetts? Are you right in the city?
Right in the city. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, actually,
and how,
it's called Brookline, but it's in the city.
Yeah, Jewish area. I've been there.
I like that she said, you look different. Your hair is combed. And I used to do talk show appearances without combed hair.
Oh, I know. I seen him.
Yeah.
He came out like Larry from the Stooges.
I didn't mean it that way, but it was different. It looked like and everything looked really good. Your clothes, I mean, you know, there's a difference in you. But
well, was I watching a different show? Did you have a tuxedo on? A three-piece suit? Hey, Cindy, how old are you and the girls? Artie wants to know.
Well, we're all married, first of all, but we're all in our 30s.
Oh,
Everybody.
there you go.
Oh, good.
Early 30s, and we all teach high school.
I'm getting a new demographic.
Very cool. Hey, Cindy, and you guys gonna have a pillow fight later?
We're gonna have a glass of wine and talk about Artie. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, very cool.
Wow, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Cindy, spread the word in Boston. Thank you.
Well, that was nice.
I know. I feel like I was getting in the way. You could have flown up there tonight and get some.
Yeah.
You know, had some fun.
You were the guy. You could have had Patti LaBelle's niece. That's even more impressive.
She was really cute. Too.
Yeah, really.
But, you know how I am.
You should have done something.
Donnie in New Jersey wants to talk. Donnie, welcome to the show.
I'll go a step further. We at the Stern Fan Network, Artie on Letterman and Nick on Fox News.
Well done, Donnie.
Can you say it's a big?
We might have to dump that.
Donnie.
Anything with a mile of stern.
No, but I think he said something else we couldn't say.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, my instincts were good on that one. That was going, you know. See that though? You got like 4 chicks in Boston having a girls' night in.
That's rare.
And that's not rare. Come on, I've been on the road with you. You're like Elvis.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, after the mob killed him.
According to a very reliable source, the Enquirer.
National Enquirer, yeah, that you believe.
Well, we got to back it up. We can talk about that later, too. Great paper, right, Dennis?
Yeah. That's where I first heard about the human waste motorcycle, and they were right about that.
They got Chandra Levy. They got a whole bunch of them that we didn't mention. They did stink, though. But come on, Amazing Children Cry Rocks. That's the funniest headline.
That is good.
Hey, it's a Nick and Artie show, 800-546-7663, and we're touching the lighter side of the world. Come right back, folks.
Now, back to two guys whose diets are so unhealthy, they're the reason air fresheners were invented.
Yo, welcome back to the show, folks.
Hello, Nick.
Artie, is this yours or mine? I don't recognize this riff either. What happened to all the music we picked? I sent Ken Cole 19 emails, and everything was going fine for the week.
Don't look at me.
No, I thought this might have been one of yours.
No, I've never heard that before.
The military march? No? What the hell? What's going on? Ken, I hope you're listening. I'm not doing it. I'm not at it anymore. I'm not writing any more bumpers. I'm not picking any more tunes. Apparently, they have their own agenda.
I came in with a couple more I wanted. I wanted Can You Hear Me Knocking by the Stones and Prove It All Night by Bruce.
And Bad Blood by Neil Sedaka.
Yeah.
Can we find that? We have to play that before the show's over for Colin Quinn. He said he'd give me $100.
Yeah.
Bad, bad, blood.
I like, my favorite Neil Sedaka song is Laughter in the Rain.
Oh, that's the other one he tweeted.
Did he really? Laughter in the Rain.
Let's go to Steve in Chicago. Steve, it says betting stories, but let's do one because we got so many callers.
I love betting stories.
I do too. Go ahead, Stevie.
Hey, guys, how are you?
What's happening? What's your betting story?
Well, I've got several, but
I know,
just
but
want to say,
we don't have time for
really
several.
enjoy hearing you guys on the radio. It's
Thank you.
I really got a good feeling about the show. I like the time it's on. I like the subject you're going to cover. It's really good. I just want to
Thank
wish you a lot
Stevie.
of luck.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. That was the betting story?
I don't know. Did he jump off or they just kicked him off? Honest to God. He just jumped, right? All right. We don't want to blame LA for everything. Guy just jumped off. That was nice, huh?
He complimented us, but then,
Why do you have to lie to compliment us? He could have said, just want to tell.
Well, you don't want to let nice stuff on. That doesn't get ratings.
But when you get this kind of music, you do. Speaking of nice stuff.
Country roads with my baby.
It starts to rain, it begins to pour.
You know every word.
You got to pull up Bad Blood, too, Dennis, please. Little interesting note about Neil Sedaka that you might not know. All-American linebacker, Michigan State in the 50s.
Yeah, I didn't know that, no.
Swear to God. 106 tackles.
Really?
Yes.
When did he write Laughter in the Rain? At the halftime of a game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The storm against Ohio State. It was raining like a son of a gun. He pulled out a pad.
Right.
And just banged that baby out. I was talking to Quinn on the phone.
Yeah.
And something about the Midnight Special. Remember that show?
Right, yeah.
And he saw a clip of Neil Sedaka singing Bad Blood.
Yeah.
But he's in some type of designer jeans pulled up to his nipples and with a sequin shirt.
Any Neil Sedaka clip from the 70s has got to be entertaining.
Do you remember seeing him on Merv Griffin and stuff?
Yeah, Neil Sedaka. He was on the radio all the time. Here's another one.
This one goes out to our friend Colin Quinn. Quinn is going to play this.
How many sports shows are playing Neil Sedaka right now?
Quinn. We want to get to the refrain. Quinn was going to go down to the protest and said he's going to, with a boombox, put this down and take on the protesters.
We used to... We used to, sometimes me and my buddies, to bust chops, we'd go on the beach at the Jersey Shore, like in the 80s, all these Guidos and stuff, and we would blast the Spanish station, like just as loud as we could.
Now, why would you do that?
Or the religious station, the Christian station, just like as loud as we possibly could over something by, Lisa.
I opened for, I'll give you a few more. I opened for Expose. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had all their records.
Artie. Honest to God.
Expose?
Remember the three looking good and I didn't know who they were.
I've heard of the band, but I don't think I could recall a song by them.
And you know who else they opened for? And she's the late, great Laura Branigan.
No kidding.
Yeah. The Cape Cod Melody Tent.
I've done that.
Yeah, and one of them was in the round, or the stage rotated. Paul Anka, I opened.
Yeah, in the round. The Cape. You know who I opened for at the Cape Cod Melody Tent?
John Stuttering John.
No, the great Bob Schimmel.
Oh, did you?
I opened up for Schimmel once at the Cape Cod Melody Tent. I got off stage and
got in a fight with Terry O'Reilly.
No, he because it was outdoors in the summer, a brown recluse spider had crawled on the stage and somehow got on Schimmel's neck.
You told me about
it. It was
that.
on his neck in the middle of his act. And the audience starts screaming and pointing at him, and he realized it. And, Schimmel was a little guy. He starts freaking out, and he starts hitting the thing with his microphone, and it fell off him. But I was asking one of the cops that I was standing...
What kind of spider was it?
They said it was a brown recluse, the cops. And I said, well, what happens if it bites you? The cop said you got 20 minutes to get to the hospital. Supposedly it was a really poisonous spider.
What the hell's a poisonous spider doing at the Cape Cod Melody?
But here's how much of a pro Schimmel is. After that, he just easily just did another half an hour and killed.
I'm sure he did. Did he must have riffed on the spider.
Yeah,
he
did.
wore nothing but turtlenecks. I noticed from then on in. You see all his headshots. He's got
the late great Bob Schimmel. Yeah, I opened for him at the Cape Cod Melody Tent. That's the night. Yeah, that happened.
That was my worst bombing for Paul Anka. They wanted somebody squeaky clean. I had been doing comedy literally about 18 months.
Right.
And was a little bit raw and was not. I knew somebody who ran the Melody Tent. That's how I got the gig.
Right.
And even I said, I don't know if I'm right for this. Oh, don't be a baby. Go do it. It's Paul Anka. 2,500 people.
Yeah.
I pull into the parking lot. I am not kidding you. First thing I see, 2 old people pulling their oxygen tank. I'm not kidding you. Out of their car. I'm not kidding. Walkers, an ocean of walkers in the parking lot. And I'm going, oh, what have I got myself into? And Paul Anka, and they come back, you can't do anything blue. This guy wrote the theme song for The Tonight Show. He wrote Having My Baby.
Yeah.
He wears like white tuxedos with white, and they're like, you can't do anything blue. And I get out there, and it's a rotating stage. And I'm just, the stage is turning. I'm so nervous I get cotton mouth. I have a cup of water. I put it down, but I put it down on a stationary part outside the stage. You know what I mean? I thought it was... So I'm rotating and I'm dying for the first 5 minutes. I go to look for my drink, and I look. It's like a half mile. It had rotated. You know what I mean? It was a mile from me. I couldn't even reach for my drink. And I'm eating it big. I'm burning like a piece of chicken in a microwave when it turns,
Right.
So then I went into some stuff about Depends and fiber and then they went nuts. They loved it, and I got in trouble for doing that.
I got booked on a cruise once, the Bermuda, and they didn't tell me I couldn't be dirty, and I was dirty the first night. And the guy who managed it, the room, when we got to Bermuda, asked me to leave the ship. Like I wasn't allowed to go back with the ship, and
I've heard that of happening. You really? I don't picture you on a ship.
I mean, on a cruise, and because it was all older people, and I worked blue, and it didn't work out. But I said, well, I could do clean stuff tomorrow. He goes, no, I don't think anybody wants to see you. He was angry about it.
The most famous ship story is that Peter, I don't know his last name, but he's a Jewish comic,
right?
And it was right after the. Killy Loro, was that the name of the ship? Remember they shot a guy and dumped him in the water?
Yeah.
Well, this
the guy in the
wheelchair.
Yeah.
Leon Klinghoffer. His name is. Well, this guy goes on, and he's a Jewish comedian, and he opens with that on a cruise ship, and the crowd was like,
opens
Jewish.
with what, like a joke
the
about
Klinghoffer.
it?
Yes, yes. They shut the microphone on him, and they shut the lights. And
what was the joke?
But how do you make a Leon Klinghoffer 2 shots and a splash or something? He opens with this in front of like a Jewish audience. And I thought because he thought he was Jewish, he could get away with it.
Right.
They had to, and this is true, they had a helicopter, had to take him off the ship.
Oh, my God.
They were so...
I mean,
they wanted to murder him.
They would have.
Like at the buffet right after the show.
They would have done the same thing they did to Klinghoffer. Ironically enough.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the best. I had no idea that you got booted.
Yeah,
too.
he left me in Bermuda. I stayed for 3 days. I flew home.
Anyways, it's the Nick and Artie Show coming up, the last segment of the night. 800-546-7663. We'll take a couple more of your calls. We'll be right back.
Now back to 2 guys who love Italian food so much, as little leaguers, they rub their gloves with olive oil.
That rotating machine's broke. Welcome back to the Nick and Artie Show, folks. Final segment of the evening on a Friday night. Well, we know 4 chicks who are having a good Friday night up in Boston, Artie.
Could you imagine a better night than that?
Come
Boy.
on.
That sounds like fun.
What do you... Well, I'm no, it actually sounded good.
Yeah.
But, I got to go home to the wife, which isn't bad. And
no, of course not.
She'll be upstairs watching a Bill Curtis, mystery murder, taking notes. And I'll be downstairs watching Hawaii, San Jose State till 5.
Yeah.
And we'll meet together in the kitchen around noon.
I had Hawaii in that game. Speaking of bets, I just thought of a buddy of mine,
yes,
good friend of mine, told me the other day he went to Vegas at the beginning of the season and he bet a future bet on the Tigers to win the series. If the Tigers win the series, he wins $75,000.
What was he? Do we know what the odds? We didn't know what the odds.
I don't know. He didn't give me that detail, but
They had to be pretty long shot.
I'll get it
right?
from him. Yeah, he put down, but he's a kid who really knows his stuff. Like he kind of knew like they had decent pitching and they had a outside shot, stuff like that. And $75,000 he could win.
I made a mistake. I took the Nats on a future bet. I could clear 11.5 and buy a house in Buffalo with 62 bedrooms and 100 acres. How about we got actually there's a guy who's got a bet on the Tigers, big bet, a guy in New Jersey, Francis. Quickly, how are
Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good, thank you. What's you got? You got a bet on the Tigers, huh?
I do. I actually bet a futures bet also. And
really?
I bet $3,500 in the beginning of the year on the Detroit Tigers. If I win $107,000. But what I'm thinking about doing, because I'm getting kind of nervous, and I dodged one game that could have knocked me out. So do I hedge and go the other way? And that's why I'm calling, and you guys are experts.
Oh, wow. Oh, the hedging thing is...
I never know how to hedge.
You know what, man? I say no. I hate hedging. I say play it out, man. Go for the $107,000.
Well, like for example, let's say, if they lose, then I lose my $3,500, then I don't win my $100,000. But let's say tomorrow I could just put $20,000 on Texas. Then,
right?
Then I get $20,000 I wouldn't have had.
Yeah. I know the hedging thing is an interesting situation, but I'll tell you what. You know what? You bring up a good point. Put down the 20 G's.
$20 is good.
Put down the 20 G's. I mean, he makes a good point because either he's up 87 or he's up 15, right? Or 17.
Or what could happen then is Detroit could win tomorrow. Then I got to bet another $20,000 the next day. And then if Detroit loses or wins, that means I committed $45,000 to this stupid bet.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's what happens with hedging. It starts to get on a roll. But why not just bet 20 G's on Texas for the series? You know what I mean? Like,
I should have done that. I didn't do that.
Yeah, you should have done that instead of individual games.
Francis, thanks for the call, pal. We hope to Artie help you out and call back from a shelter.
If I was him, I'd hedge it. He's making a good point. I'd put down the $20,000.
He lost me like 2 sentences ago. I was handed this by a producer. The Tigers were 30-1 odds.
Wow!
At the beginning of the season, when he handed it to me, I thought he said I thought he meant they went 30-1, like in April and May.
Well, that would have made the news, I think.
That was like 1983 they did, remember? Or 1981?
In 1984,
84.
The year they beat the Padres, they opened up the season.
Right.
They were 32-5, I think.
32,
like that.
exactly.
Something like that.
I was working at that mental institution as a groundskeeper. That's how I remember that. Seriously, it was my favorite summer of my life. Driving a tractor. Cutting around crazy people who wouldn't get up off the lawn. I'd cut around them. It was like making crazy cookies.
Cutting around crazy people.
When they'd get up, their outline would be in the lawn.
Cutting around crazy people.
Yeah, but the Tigers, I remember that. What a summer that was.
Yeah,
they were unbelievable.
Darrell Evans, Alan Trammell, big Yankee killer.
Stu McClanahan,
Willie Hernandez. Willie Hernandez that year won both the Cy Young and the MVP.
He did?
Yeah, their relief pitcher. Yeah.
Is that right?
They're closers, Cy Young and the MVP.
It's like Rain Man over here, isn't he? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I
was at
1970 World Series, Artie.
1970 World Series, the Reds lost to the Orioles. The Reds.
Give us the game. But you even know the games.
I don't know how many games that one went, but
big deal.
The Reds lost to the Orioles. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Reds and Orioles.
And I was at the game when Kirk Gibson hit the 2 home runs in Detroit.
You were?
My grandfather was in a German prison camp with a guy from Detroit during World War II for 6 months, okay? They became lifelong friends. The guy goes back home, moves to Detroit, becomes kind of a bigwig with Chrysler.
Yeah.
And in '84, as a gift to my grandfather, because my grandfather helped each other stay alive in a German prison camp.
Yeah.
He sent me and my cousin Frankie 2 tickets to Game 5 of the '84 series. So we flew up to Detroit. I was 17. My cousin was 13. And we go to the game with this older couple, and it's the game when Gibson hit the 2 homers.
Are you kidding?
And there was a riot in Detroit. I mean, cars being overturned, fires started, and we had to walk through it with 2 60-year-olds. But, yeah, I was at that game.
I got a similar story. Hitler had 2 tickets for the Red Wings and Bruins, and somehow they got lost in the Eagle's nest.
Ava Braun took him away.
College football, quickly. These are the games I'm not going to bet on. I'm going to watch. Michigan State. That's a good one. 11 versus 23. Baylor, number 20 versus 21, Texas A&M.
I always bet Baylor Rice every year.
You do, don't you?
I do, yeah.
It's like you can't do that anymore.
Tradition. That's right, I can't. Thanks for reminding me.
Number 6, Oklahoma State, whose offense could beat a few NFL teams. At 22, Texas, who's disappointing us again. Texas again. 18, Arizona State at Oregon. Oregon doesn't have their running back, LaMichael James, his elbow bent back. You see, that was almost a Theismann-like incident. LSU, number 1, at Tennessee. That'll be a doozy, even though it doesn't matter. Throw the records out on that. You know, the Alabama at Ole Miss. Alabama's number 2 in the country. Oklahoma at Kansas. Oklahoma's number 3. Okay, they're dropping. And Wisconsin versus Indiana. How did that get on? Boise State at Colorado State. Wisconsin's 4, and Boise State's ranked 5th. I think they should be closer to the top, personally. And for the first time since 1982, there's no Florida school in the top 25, folks.
I put down a future bet on Marquette. Do they have a football team?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do now.
I got 40-1. If they
Hockey unders, Artie, Carolina 4, Buffalo 3, and that went over. And
Really?
San Jose lost to Anaheim, 1-0.
So that's
it.
Push.
So it was, push. 1-1. It's Nick and Artie, folks. We got to wrap this thing up. It was a good week, Artie, right?
Yeah, fun time again. Always love hanging with you, Nick. Stick with the hockey unders.
All right. We'll see you next week.